What's up, guys? It's Us here, getting you guys a little bit of a duel video today. A friend of mine and I were going to be playing some Yu-Gi-Oh! We kind of wanted to do this for a while. This is Climate Control 404. Um, I've been playing a decent bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. Actually, just got back from the locals not too long ago here in Florida. And we decided just to go and play set. I'm playing Gigavise, he's playing Geargia Karakuri, because he's been all over that lately. And I really wanted to try Gigavise. I've been kind of hyping the deck. So I open up really mad now that I look at my hand. Definitely not a hand I would like to really get, and this is my first experience actually playing this deck, so I was like, I see why people don't like playing too many quips when I already drew two opening hand. So he flips the size in, and summons Geargiano, the original Geargiano, and he's playing 2 and 2 now because he wants to try Specialist Accelerator, then goes for Burrito. Burrito gets him, I believe, the Watchdog. Or does he? No, he goes for the Strategist. Strategist switches it to attack. He draws a card. Then goes and sacks off the Geargiano for the the Accelerator. Then sinks off for Bure, and then Bure gets him the Watchdog, I believe. Or does he not go for the effect here? Alright, he doesn't go for the effect. And pretty much I decide I'm just going to take it all to the face because I don't really want to waste my Scapegoat at this point just to block 2 attacks, then I really just don't want to waste it, more or less. So I go for the Dark Hole because I punish him for overextending like that without any form of protection. Then I go for the Foolish, and I actually Foolish the Lone Fire, and yeah, there is the Angel Queen or whatever that you just saw there. I'm trying her out because she supposedly comes out in the next set. I go for the Call to Honda because I don't want to use the Miracle Fertilizer because I want to make the Gemini Summoner, but he 7 tools, so I have to go for the Miracle Fertilizer now, which is really kind of good. Then I get my Lone Fire back. Then I go for Lone Fire into Gigaplant, and I was testing the Angel Queen or whatever, like I said. And yeah, this is post-counter because I lost, or some of the original file didn't really look that well. And the reason I went Lone Fire, Gigaplant, instead of just going Lone Fire and Gigaplant is because I really don't want to draw the Lone Fires. Well, I do, but like, I don't really want to have to like worry about it later. Whereas I'd rather just know where my Lone Fires are manipulated with DDR or Mark of the Rose or whatever. He tries to Fiendish Chain you, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. But because I'm a normal monster at the moment, because of Gemini mechanics, I'm not, so he has to de-prison me. And now I know he has a Fiendish Chain set, so I'm able to play around that. And for people who don't know, the reason he doesn't Fiendish the Lone Fire is because of how Lone Fire works, whereas Lone Fire is not on the field. So it wouldn't be affected by Fiendish Chain. It's kind of like Fiendish Chaining Rescue Rabbit, and it doesn't work the same way as like Valor. So he decides to go for the Yugiano Specialty Accelerator, and then I just let him take out one of the tokens because I really don't care. And then I don't want the Accelerator punching me in the face. And then I drew my 30 Quip spell, so it's like, dang it, my power tools are now dead. So I said I want to go and get rid of this Fiendish Chain, so I go for the DDR, discard the Mark of the Rose, and decide to special summon the Gigaplant. Then I equip the Supervise on the Gigaplant, which makes it an effect monster, but it's also a walking time bomb if you kill the DDR or the Gigaplant, because then I'll just get the Gigaplant right back. So then I go and specialty Lone Fire Blossom, and here I'm actually contemplating what I want to do, because I see a few plays that I actually can make, because the one thing I love about playing so much is the fact that you have like almost infinite potential for a play every turn if you even have a decent hand. And my decision right now is just what I want to go for, and I said I want to go and start tearing apart his field, because if you can get Geargia at the point where they don't have an engine going, or just tear apart the card advantage that they have, they really just flat out lose at that point. So I cite the Lone Fire for the Spore. I know I actually get Spore in this game, because it actually matters that I get Spore. So I sink Spore and a token for Formula, and Formula is going to give me a free card. And I forget I would actually draw off this. Oh right, I drew Polynosis. So then I sink the Formula and the Gigaplant, and lose all my quips, and I get Scrap Dragon. Then Supervise kicks in, and I believe it actually works in this case. I'm not entirely sure. That could be a complete me. That could be me playing wrong, or me not understanding mechanics. I believe that you would get Supervise at that point, especially when you Giga Plant. Then I go for the Scrap Dragon, just pop a token and his back row. But he changed it, and it's like Yu-Gi-Oh gear, and I'm like, oh well, that was a lot of fun. So I'm just kind of I lose a lot of card advantage, but I can just goof around with it almost, just because of how this game actually goes. And because he has the accelerator, I don't want him getting back anything relevant or anything that would actually make a difference. And I see that he has no relevant targets aside from those Geargianos that he actually has on the board. So I have the Scrap Dragon swing at the accelerator, mainly for the fact that I don't want him, like I said, to be getting free cards back. And I don't really care if he gets a Geargiano, so I go under and over the MK2. And then I set the Polynosis, which is such a silly card. It makes his deck one of the few decks that actually still has a Solemn Judgment. I don't know why this deck is still one of the few that has a Solemn Judgment. And I know like Infernity saw theirs, which you should see Infernity deck profile actually soon, believe it or not. But yeah, he goes ahead and is contemplating by his play. He summons the Geargiano. Decides to get back his what? Yeah, he gets back the Watchdog. And he tries to go for Scrap Dragon and reverse momentum on his own, but I Polynosis that. Because I don't care about distributing my plans as long as I get the back like every turn. And I draw a Veiler just to add insult to the injury at this point. And because I don't want him to have back row, I pop my last Goat token and the Deep Prison, which I was really glad about. Special Lone Fire, and because I want to keep deck thinning, I go Lone Fire into the Titanial, and yeah, there was a slight glitch. I'm trying new recording software compared to what I've been using on my screen, and this actually, I do like this admittedly, but I'm not too familiar with it yet. So pretty much, we just go into game 2 at this point. I actually need to, yeah, you won't see us doing this or whatever, because I accidentally showed you guys my deck list, and you guys don't get to see that yet. So, pretty much we're going to game 2, and this game is awful for me. I open okay, not really what I want. And I'm contemplating just going for the first turn Dark Hole, but I really didn't want to do that. So I just did the Polynosis and end turn. And he's contemplating about it, but he decides to just go straight for the MST and end phase. Which, again, leaves me with nearly nothing. And I'm pulling out the Veiler because I thought it was an armor. I'm like, okay, if he's flipping that size, then he's going to be special summoning soon. And he goes for the Gear, and sadly, I only get one draw off that because of how Gear and Max C are worded. Because Max C only recognizes per time and not per monster. If it recognized per monster, I feel like that'd be a little too busted. So he goes, yeah, he gets out 2 Geargianos for his Gear, and then sinks off into, sinks into a Stardust. And I draw Crane Lone Fire. The Crane is still dead at this point, which makes me sad. I really didn't want that Crane dead. And he tries to set one, but he accidentally discards it. But it's because he's more used to Dev Pro compared to DN, and I honestly just hate Dev Pro as a program. I think it's terrible, aside from tag duels. And I realize I don't have any spells in grade for this Spell Striker, otherwise I try and do something with it. So I'm in an awkward situation, and I know he has a warning, so I have to bait out his warning. So I go for the Debris Dragon, and I'm going to decide to just try and beat it with an Orient Dragon, but he has the Max C, which makes my life even worse. And I synchro into the Orient Dragon, because I need to just get rid of the Stardust. And then he warnings me, and I'm just like, well, I don't have anything else to go off of, because that was my normal zone for the turn, and I knew that. And even if I went for the Lone Fire, I have a feeling he would have just warning that anyway, so it's not like I really had any, like, actual plays. So I'm thinking about what I want to do. I can't really make any extra deck point plays right now. And I was thinking of just ending my turn there, but yeah, I go for the Dark Hole just to get rid of his stuff, and then banish Dark Hole with the Spell Striker, which I am trying, because apparently every other Gigavise player is saying you have to run Spell Striker right now. And I actually remember in his commentary of this duel, he was like, "What the hell, Spell Striker?" and questioned the play. Really, I had to run the Dark Hole. I mean, if I almost won the Lone Fire, he would have warned you. If I saw the Debris, he would have warned you. The warning itself was just the problem. And I needed the Spell Striker at that point just because, knowing what I know about the deck, if you could bust out 3 synchros easily. The problem is, if he busted out those 3 synchros, I would have lost. If he busted out 2, I could have potential, or if he busted out 2, I could have potentially lived. But I needed to get the I need to get my Spell Striker going, because if he made 3, or if he had a total of 3 synchros on board, the Spell Striker could pretty much chunk block 1, then the other 2 would leave me with another turn to play. Plus, I'd have the melee plea as needed with the Spell Striker. So I veilered the Geargia MK2, which is probably a mistake. I probably shouldn't have veilered that. I probably should have veilered, like the beret that he's actually about to make, because I should have realized he still had potential to make synchros and stuff. So pretty much that kind of costed me the game. That, and I guess not selling the Lone Fire, but I don't know. I really needed the Lone Fire too much, and joining Gigaplant kind of sucked. So he goes for the beret. Beret gets him one of his synchros, or one of his tuners, I should say. Because I know he has a Watchdog Engrave. I think he gets Strategist, I believe. Yeah, he gets Strategist. Strategist really doesn't matter what he sends to attack or defense. But he switches it to attack and then goes ahead and synchros off with the Accelerator. Makes himself a second beret. And then beret gets him a card that actually messes me up because he has it. He gets the Watchdog, and the Watchdog lets him crash into the Spell Striker, and he's able to just kill me from there. So that's pretty much our game 2. And now on to game 3. So I have been a lot better this game, and on top of it all, I'm going first. So honestly, I don't even know what I want to do, but I decided to go and just go for the Lone Fire Dandy, I believe it was, I opened up in this game. Like, I know I go Lone Fire, but I forget what I end up with. Yeah, I go for Dandelion because I have the Polynosis, and Dandy Polynosis is hilarious because Dandy can't miss timing on it. If Dandy's involved in counter traps, he can't miss timing, which is amazing. So I'm just thinking about what I want to do at this point. I could Mark of the Rose. I was reading Mark of the Rose because I forget how equip spells and set monsters work, and then I was like, wait, that's a basic game mechanic. You can't equip a set monster with a card. So then I should be Dandelion and get Gigaplant, and I get my 2 tokens. And he tries the Torrential, but I go for the Polynosis and negate the Torrential. Then I go for the Supervise on the Gigaplant, but he compulses my Gigaplant, and I was like, well, this sucks. So I'm within an awkward position now because I already tribute summoned my Gigaplant, and I really don't want to have to tribute summon him again. So he goes for he flips the Geargia MK2, which lets him special the Accelerator, and he normal summons the Strategist. Then he goes for the Beret, and he switches my token to attack. Well, and gets his Watchdog. Technically not, and you guys should get what happens, but yeah. Then he goes for another Beret and gets a Watchdog out. And then he runs over my token for 26. And I take 626 in the face. And this leaves me in a really awkward position because I only have to rely on my monsters. I really can't do too much. But he makes a Drago Sec when I have a Mark of the Rose, and I am just like, this is beautiful. So, at this point, I go for the Mark of the Rose, banishes it in a Lone Fire Blossom, because it's always good to have a Lone Fire banish. And I get a Drago Sec, or his Drago Sec, so then I get the 2 tokens, use his Drago Sec's effect, pop itself and his back row, which actually proves to be a warning, and that actually helps me in this game. I got my revenge on you, Jesus. So I'm looking at my trade deck and thinking about what I want to do, and examining my graveyard, realizing that I don't have... I mean, I have plays I can do, so I'm looking at my most optimal play right now, because I have to get around the 2 level 3 tokens and the Watchdog. I really have to get rid of the Watchdog, though. That's my biggest problem here. So I summon Green, go for Dandelion, and decide to overlay with the Dandy for Melee the trees. And I know some people comment, why only 1 Melee? This is me testing as if I only had 1, because I might actually be getting 1, and for some reason I'm looking at my Banish Zone. So I get my second Lone Fire, and I said to go for the Lone Fire effect. I'm debating if I want to really sack off, because I'm thinking I don't really need the Melee anymore, but I realize I just want the Lone Fire Engrave. And I go for the second. And I think I'm going for the Queen Angel because I can get rid of tokens, but I really need to get rid of the Watchdog. and I really didn't want to trust Queen Angel just doing that. So I go on a Titanium, I get up Titanium and just swing over the Watchdog, and then have Malay swing over um, that thing, a token. And then I set a Scapegoat, which just stays there the entire game. And he's looking at his extra deck and everything, trying to figure out what he's going to do. But I have really good card advantage at this point. I do have a dead or have a pseudo, not really viable card in my hand right now, and I have a Card Trooper, which I hold on to for quite a while. I'm so glad for the Card Trooper. He goes for the MK2, and gets another MK2, and makes probably his favorite extra deck card, Fortune Tune. I know he's a really big, avid fan of Fortune Tune. And then I draw the Super Slow Nutrient, and I'm like, oh, this lets me make more plays. I have all the pros plays, and I'm thinking about what I want to go for if I have any targets for it, but I question it and decide not to go for it. So I think if I really want to, or tribute summon Gigaplan, I'm thinking if I want to do anything with Malay, or if I have any real plays to go off of, or if I just really want to hold on to the Malay with the material just to make sure I get my fluff tokens. But then I realize with the card advantage I have, I don't really need to hold on, or I believe that's what I do. I'm just looking over everything right now, trying to think of all my best plays, because I realize I could probably get Drago, or at least a Power Tool play going. So I detach Dandy, get Lone Fire Blossom, and then go for the Lone Fire effect, sack the Malay, because Malay's done everything that she can do it for me at this point. And I decide to get my Spore. And then realizing that I still have a, thinking about it, because I want to keep the Gigaplant if I can, I realize I can actually make a 7 off of Spore, Lone Fire, and a token, and make Power Tool. So then I use Power Tool's effect to search double supervise and a DDR. And pretty much, for people who don't want to know the easier way of doing this to randomize it, you can assign numbers to the cards, and so it works with magical hats too, and then just roll a die, and then it's still randomly considered getting a card. So I get the DDR. I really wanted the supervise, but I do get the DDR, so I go DDR, discard Super Solar and get Lone Fire back. And then Lone Fire gets me, I believe, a Gigaplant. Because I was thinking I could potentially get Drago, but I decided to go Gigaplant, and then Xyz into Ptolemy M7. And then, yeah, I detach the Ptolemy and get back a Crane, because I still have not normal summon this turn to do any of this. So then I go Crane. Crane gets me Dandelion back. Then with Dandelion and Crane, I make Soul Surfer Mountain, which is an amazing card. I love this card in this deck now, because I didn't realize how good it actually was. Then I have Power Tool swing over it. Then I have Ptolemy swing over it. And for people who are wondering, why didn't you just Ptolemy the Fortune Tune? Fortune Tune can't be targeted. And then I go for the Gigaplant, and I do have a slight misplay. I didn't know that Soul Silver actually specializes the monsters, or specializes any monsters it brings out in defense. So I just go ahead and do that. Then swing over that. And he points out Gigaplant has to be in defense. I'm like, oh yeah, it does. Because I barely played with this card. This is like the first deck I've actually kept this card in for like more than any point in time. So I'm pretty set right now in terms of my field. I don't really care what he wants to do. If he tries to target anything, I have Titanium to protect me, because I can just send the Gigaplant. And then he specials Redox and a set monster. I'm like, well, I don't know what I want to do now. So I detach Ptolemy and get back to Lone Fire, because I'm just like, I might as well use this Ptolemy M7. And I don't want him to keep Redox in hand, because if he gets Redox in hand, he can potentially reborn stuff, and I don't want him to have any real excessive plays. So I sack Ptolemy and the Soul Silver Mountain to summon the Queen Angel, because I unfortunately drew it, but at the same time I can actually go ahead and make a Drago sack play now. And yeah, like I said, I'm so far ahead of him right now in terms of card advantage and just sheer force of what I can do. I go ahead and make my own Drago sack, detach the Queen because I want the Plains Engrave, and then I have Drago sack blow up the Redox and switch the Gigaplant to attack. Gigaplant runs over the set Geargia armor. I was hoping it was a bluff, but it turns out to actually be an armor. And I'm about to attack with Drago sack for some reason. I'm like, wait, but I check his grave, then he just takes the 28, and for some reason attack with Drago sack escapes my mind, but then I remembered, oh yeah, Drago can't attack, because he used the effect. So he goes for Mach 2, summons Gear Armor, then specials Redox, sets a monster, sets a card. This actually kind of makes me wish I had the Soul Silver Mountain so I could just kind block that, but it was just trap stun, so I'm not afraid. Because my set cards is still at Scapegoat. And I draw the Miracle Fertilizer, which is like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. I can do silly things with this. So I decided to go and summon Card Trooper, and just use Trooper to mill 3. And I mill all spells and traps I don't care for. So I banish the Lone Fire for the Spore effect because I haven't used that all game. And I decided to sink for a Black Rose Dragon. And because of Black Rose's effect. And because of Black Rose's effect, yeah, I go ahead and switch the Redox into attack by banishing the melee. Then Black Rose runs over that. I should probably have a Titanium attack, but I guess it doesn't matter by the end of the day. So then Titanium runs over the Giugiano, and then I don't want him to keep the armor, so I go and have the Gigaplant run over that. And then, yeah, I'm sitting real pretty right now. He summons Giugiano. Summons the other Giugiano and decides to go for Fortune Tune. And really it doesn't matter, I guess, at this point, just because of what I can and can't do. So he decides to banish 2 dudes for Redox, and I just Black Rose the Redox into attack mode because I am able to just do that easily. So I switch the Redox into attack, and then I decide to just go on a Titanium swing over for game. He tries to deprison me, I believe it was. He deprisons, I just send Gigaplant to grave because I don't want him to have the pride of doing that, and then I just run over it for game. So that was pretty much it. I hope you guys liked this duel. It was really fun. We actually had a lot of fun doing it aside from that game too. That was really boring. And I hope this maybe teaches you guys some of the silly plays that you can do with Gigaplant, or not Gigaplant, Gigavise. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So later.